Every morning you greet me. Small and white, clear and bright. You look happy to meet me. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow. Bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, let my home and forever. It's good to play something from memory once in a while. It's good to it's good to take the journey of what we remember of the fabric that has taken us this far. And maybe sometimes needs to be revisited just to make sure we know what memory we're tending and that it's still part of the membership. And maybe we might find we don't want it anymore. Or we might find we need more connection to it. And for me, with something like Edelweiss, I find I want more connection. And it has in part to do with the fact that there is a lingering question about, you know, incompetence and the idea of volition. And particularly to what disqualifies Donald Trump. And what's going on there? There's a vacillation. There's a musical chairs. So often it's more complex than just two, you know, on either end of a continuum. Or, of course, even that gets complex. But in some of these cases, and maybe eventually all of them, it boils down to this. Is it incompetence or is it volition? With the case of January 6th, did he mean to do it or did he not mean to do it? Either way, it's totally disqualifying. And if we ever get out of phasing back and forth between all of the different possibilities and say, well, let's for a moment just look at one of them. If it's a matter of incompetence, it's utterly disqualifying, certainly, with January 6th. If it's a matter of volition, then it's also utterly disqualifying. And if it's somewhere in between in terms of there's volition, but there's also just a lot of incompetence, it doesn't make it better. It just makes it a different cocktail of wrong. And it's important to recognize that between the chairs that he's getting the benefits of and the rewards of, and quick perch until he doesn't want to be associated with that chair, until he wants to get the reward of a different chair and say, actually, no, I'm saying this as the president, or I'm saying as someone who's seeking the presidency, or I'm saying this as someone who would have sex with his daughter and tells people about it, but not say it out loud. But oops, I just did. No, it was a joke, but no, it wasn't. And oops, that chair. But no, I'm not sitting there. But no, I don't know that chair. I've never met that chair. I don't know that chair. In the game, that we don't ever just stop and like name the chairs. And I think there are two eventually. But which is it in the case of January 2nd? Is it entirely incompetent that he, for other reasons, stoked massive degradation of expectation in the election for 3 presidential cycles, and had already eaten away, atrophied with gaslight and terroristic glee through birtherism, and then came in just with rafts of shocking boundary violations, that when he went into 2020's election, he was again saying it would be rigged. And he had said in 2016 he would keep us in suspense, and then he did. And in between saying that the election, that he had won it and it was stolen, and finally leading a violent and premeditated clerical insurrection on January 6th, that he eventually gave up when it became clear that it wasn't just all going to happen for him at once. And he became a scaredy cat. He said that he would keep us in suspense, and on that day he did, and he showed his hand. And he doubled down on it by saying he did nothing wrong, and he landed on Plymouth Rock with a planet called the foreign nation of Donald Trump, saying, actually, I'm going to go and sing with the people that I attacked this country with. And I'm going to bastardize a theme of our nation to sing it with them as if we're in the right, as the aggressors against our nation. In the clearest possible brazen, defiling act, full of falsehood, full of malicious contempt and aggression against America and against so many people, including people that would follow him, but probably just sweat when they first hear it, going, what? Why? Why? I would imagine that some people who support him would be deeply negatively shocked at that and say, I don't think we want to declare war, and that seems like a declaration of war. And it was. He's taken opportunities to do things that are that would be seen as aggression from anyone else, and certainly from anyone from a foreign country. What he did at Arlington was an attack. He was violent in a sacred place, saying, no, he gets to do things that other people, like, what? Everything is about some exception. And so instead of just getting about the business of somehow not preempting everything, he's preempting everything with the discussion about how he's the exception and he is in charge. And between the competence and volition, maybe it's that there is a constant fluxing, a perpetuation of the idea that this this self-certain person deserves continued attention, maybe other than just like mental health care. And it is our calamity that we do not attend to his needs as someone who should not be enabled. You don't let a white fire terrorist like Kevin Roberts or Stephen Miller or Ken Paxton or Tom Homan or Tucker Carlson just wag their naked Confederate flag tattooed ass in a menacing way at the world's existence or at the substrate of kindness to say that there's not irreversible damage that is done when you rip millions of people out of a nation and literally treat them exactly as the Nazis treat people. Exactly. That we are seeing concentration camps come. That we are seeing Stephen Miller for months speak of people as vermin and attempt to turn one or two isolated tragedies into a raft of demonization. Meanwhile, he is on a growing pile of dead women and a growing pile of missing and murdered Indigenous women and a growing pile of scooped out microplastics coming out of every pore of our bodies. Things are not going well. And the idea that we are going to rip deregulation and destroy schools, this is what war does to a country. They are conducting a violent attack on our country. If it is indecipherable from what would happen if Hitler attacked here, then it should not have that impact here from within. That is an enemy within. That Elon Musk spends millions of dollars, clearly illegally, to sow a collapse and speaks about it in public, it is totally unsafe and it is compromised. The idea that Fox was allowed to continue to exist as a news entity is laughable. Nearly paying $1 billion for a web of lies. Not just one War of the Worlds broadcast. They absolutely cast hokum that has destroyed families all across America. And it will never be reversed. And some of it is directly due to Fox or to OAN, to particles of disinformation and misinformation. It's crime. The displacement from its actual political import is that this is what the Rosenbergs or others would find themselves in the stockades going to trial. Like, this is espionage. This is substrate level rupture. That is of a state of a political stability nature. We're not paying attention. What is it to preside? It's to have the watch.
The falsehood will tell you intuitions
Quite apparently, clearly, it is.
The falsehood will tell you facts aren't
First of all, the news remains the same, which is
The falsehood will tell you
Donald Trump, Roger Stone, and Stephen Miller remain at large.
The falsehood will tell you facts aren't
Kevin Roberts also remains at large. These dangerous,
falsehood will tell
violent,
you into
Nazi
which
thugs remain at large.
The falsehood will tell you facts aren't facts.
Use the word loyalty to mean mercenary.
Falsehood will tell you
This is not
into
loyalty
which
that's about Donald Trump is assembling a Gestapo.
The falsehood will tell you facts aren't facts.
And the better and deeper we bellow,
Falsehood will tell you into which
it is time to assess and be woke. Because
the falsehood will tell you facts aren't facts.
Prevent what can make it show.
Falsehood will tell you into which
To be woke, thus, to be able to prevent what would make us choke. Well, it is the mystery font. It seems that I'm having an episode. And good golly, if it's not Nancy Mace, oh my grace, or something different than the face of grace. Not that place, it's Nancy Mace. What in the holy catastrophe is happening with the clear lynch mob energy? This is a dangerous brown shirt. She is not in control. She is not in control of faculties that an adult uses to create peace or executive function or safety. She is a menace. She is a menace. They are a menace. So this Nazi menace needs probably to hear very, very, very clearly from people. More than has already been said. Your behavior is totally unacceptable. You are not Carolyn Bryant Dunham. Because if you were Carolyn Bryant Dunham, it would be easy for people to find you and hold you accountable, which it was slightly more difficult. But we can hold you accountable for this. This very reminiscent of every lynch mob moment. You are fostering a crystal knocked. You are not a responsible or safe adult. You ridiculous, paltry terrorist. You are not acting like part of kind. Period. The ridiculous condescending, terroristic language on so many levels. The way that you disrespect mental health with your rude, brutish, ableist, Nazi joke, which of course is not a joke, it's just an insult. With your hope this helps that clearly says I don't. You are part of a particle that is unmasking as already have been for a while at war. Ridiculous traitor. Ridiculous, silly Ku Klux clown. You are an embarrassment. You are a disgrace. You are an utter disgrace to humanity. You have joined the Ku Klux Klan. You are buckled, Nazi fuck. Don't ever wag your Ku Klux finger at any Emmett Till. How dare you? How dare you? Do you want to be surrounded by gentle, nonviolent people who will never let you use a bathroom again? Because you can know that, friend. Would you like to see creative protest that helps you see peacefully in the most excruciating way the clear embarrassment under sunlight that sings Christ's name, that Nazi Mace wants to lynch? The world will know your Nazi menace. Ridiculous, insurrectionist, Nazi, traitor, violent, antichrist, behavior, particle. How dare you? How dare you? You are fostering violence. What's more, you are only one. And I call siege upon what you are doing, to name it. You are siege. You are a doom legion. Because Kevin Roberts is brown shirting. And you are brown shirting. And Donald Trump is brown shirting. And Stephen Miller is super damage brown shirting. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is brown shirting. You Nazi menace are brown shirting for damage. Tom Homan should be in fucking cuffs. M, the ridiculous, putrid Stephen Miller should be in cuffs. How dare your Nazi worship particle, your Hitler particle, how dare you? We are not so stupid as you do want us to. No! Let's look at actual predators, though. Let's just take a moment beyond a moment of direct and clear reproach to Nazi menace named Nazi Mace. Pardon me, Nazi menace, Nancy Mace. Nazi, God, it's Nazi, it's hard to, I see her name and I just, all I hear is the screams she is trying to celebrate in advance. All I hear is the blood dripping down her eyeballs. All I hear is the grinding of her teeth in pleasure. She is trying to cause murder. And in that, let's call it. Nancy Grace is a murderer. And we are watching her do it. So we need to help this ridiculous clown who is totally out of control to stop this terrorism. This brown shirting will cease. So the brainstorm is about how do we gently deliver her to mental health care, because this will not go on. You do not other and dehumanize and 3/5 any member of human family. We wouldn't even do that to Nancy Mace. Not even to her. Not even to a Nazi menace trying to sow damage. We are giving you room to slow your tank down rather than simply blow you off the battlefield you are showing us you are thinking, breathing, and seething into being. We do not accept your wartime. You have to take a breath and stop your attack. That's what it is. It's an attack, and you have to stop, or you will be stopped because you are harming people. You are harming people right now. Terrorism has two prongs, and one of them is intimidation, and it kills two. No one is as stupid as you want us to. No one is as stupid as you want us. No one is as stupid as to think that this isn't crime that you are doing. It is crime. You are normalizing terrorist, violent, rupture of human family crime. It stops now. It stops now. Kevin Roberts, come to Minneapolis. We will knock you through your head. If you issue another fucking threat, you will not bring blood. You will be red mist. If you issue particles of people will be missed. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. No one is above the law, and you're acting like white boys get to say we did. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit, and fuck anybody who tries to say they grabbed that scepter. That is crime particle. That is Nazi terrorist white fire crime particle. The answer from the new Colossus of the United States of America on planet Earth in the Milky Way from Minneapolis is no. Thus beginneth the lesson.
Six the feet of separation, 6 degrees of separation, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 6 the feet of separation. He didn't mean to cause a panic. You didn't mean didn't mean to cause a panic. He meant to draw iceberg Titanic. He didn't mean to cause a panic, yet 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. The Nazis lost in World War II. As Allied radar read their crew, and what we knew was probably due. The great American wall builder said, I know what to do. I can use you. Just let it through. He didn't mean to cause a panic. He didn't mean to cause a panic. Yet 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. 6 the feet of separation. To guard a tree and leave a stump. I don't perceive a guardian. To guard a tree and leave a stump. I don't perceive a guardian. To guard a tree and leave a stump. I don't perceive a guardian. To guard a tree and leave a stump. That's not what I call guardian. You embody a jewel trump. You're a real card, your father's son. You're a real card, your father's suit. You're a real card, your father's loot. It's not the thing you swear upon. It's what your heart was. It's what your heart was. It's what your heart will not abandon. It's what your heart won't It's what your heart won't abandon. It's how your word becomes action. It's that your words and honest one. How long must you menace us? You do doubt the new Colossus. You're a real God. You're a real God. You're a real God. 6 the feet of separation. 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 Six the feet of separation. 6.
We are essentially at a really obvious place where it's so strange that we actually have to address a person who is supposed to be like a leader in our country, like, to your face. And I mean, I haven't even tidied up the place. Good gracious. Do you really not understand? Or do you really think that we don't? Do you really think we don't see? Because, Nancy, let's see what's happening. You want to stop predators. You want to stop men from coming in to women's restrooms and being predatory to them, being predatory to you and to girls. That makes sense. And so why you're targeting trans women is really strange, because you see, those are not cis men. Those are not people who are targeting children, and they're not they're not they're not people who have any incentive to do that or show that. And you're not therefore targeting a point of emergency, except for that it is a point of safety and release for everyone. And so you're targeting something that is a point of comfort and basic survival. Because if we're not able to decompress and indeed, yes, relieve ourselves, we are persecuted. We are as good as hunted and are a mistake away from problems that would be problems for anyone. And at least ruin your day, at least communicate to you that you do not belong. And your behavior is terrorism. It's wrong. And you, frankly, know that it is murder that you're doing. You, frankly, know what a lynch mob is, and you, frankly, have probably been to one before. The way you're acting, you are a Ku Klux cucked Karen loving, unmasking enough that people can see your venom particle vibrating in midair. It's a wonder there's not a white hood assembling there with a pointy tip. It's really disgusting. It's really disgusting. It's this is why we don't have visitors from other worlds, because of Nazis. This is why we don't build back better, because you destroy public parks and pools and pave them, because you burn down Black Wall Streets after slaughtering the inhabitants and looting, and flood it with a dam and call it Lake something. But not that. It wasn't so bad. Beautiful Lake, it wasn't so bad. How dare you? How dare you try to bring Skeksis back? No. The answer is no. The answer is a categorical no. You and Kevin Roberts are going to have to go to therapy. Maybe you should go together. I don't know. But you need no more enabling. Your behavior is totally unacceptable. It's intolerable. We can tolerate anything except for intolerance. So we show you the door. Don't miss your chance to choose therapy. The more you embrace your healing journey from this total abject failure as a human, the better. It's an easier journey when you don't ride hubris past the point of a warning that you've become damage particle, and you, tiny dancer, sweet sailor, sweet optimist, prime something, don't do it. Don't do it. Put down the rope, put down the bullhorn, put away the zip ties, get therapy. AOC, other people have already clearly made the connection to say, look, what you're asking for is for straight white men, for straight men or whomever to post Chevron their way into being the experts who get to inspect what's what. And that is literally what you say you're trying to stop. But another way to get there is what I offered a moment ago. And that is, good God, why do we even have to go through this? It's just distraction. What's disgusting is what you're doing while we're distracted by being terrorized by this. And while it is also its own true attack, it's also just distraction. It's both. And that is part of what shows this to be war. That you are conducting war upon people who believe they are at peace. That's crime. That's definitely exactly the same poisoned wool blankets, Jeffrey Dahmer, degenerate crime that ruined whatever came here. And we're trying to build back better from it. So we're going to stop what you're doing. And it's better if you participate in stopping it. It's way better. Because the people who are the actual predators that we're going to stop are you, kiddo. Do you see what's happening here? You are bringing people who want to get a diddle and a fiddle and a little biddle of boys and girls in to do that. You are bringing the indoctrinators of the whole network of the largest sex trafficking ring in the world, the Catholic Church and associated powers. There's a lot of damage, and you are trying to protect those damageers. It's not all right. You're trying to protect the new Jeffrey Epsteins, like Ryan Walters. That's not all right. It's very, very far to the right. It's extremist for sure, but it's not all right. We don't want Ku Klux Klan Nazi groomers like Ron DeSantis to be anywhere near education or children. And he's conducting incredible crimes right now of all kinds, not least of which is destroying American history and destroying history of people who are not white like him. It is literally Confederacy. It is literally aiding the post-emancipation particle. It is aiding in trying to grasp power and the continued pursing strings of slave math, enslavement math. It's damage particle. It's Jeffrey Dahmer's fantasy made monetary. It's gross. And it's definitely Antichrist. It's definitely exactly the opposite of human kindness, and as has always been the case, the Ku Klux Klan is who inspired the madness and crime and devastation that Adolf Hitler did. And to see brazen criminals like Russ Vought and Kevin Roberts try to normalize just being marauding rapists, to see J.D. Vance normalize just being an incentivizer of rape, and the attempt to go for covenant marriage This is absolutely enslavement. And it is wretched. It is the opposite of everything that Christ brought and brings. It is totally, totally abomination. It's disgusting. And in the first money tables that Christ would flip, I think would definitely be called truth. Would definitely be and obviously the Democrats would not be untouched in that either. There's a lot of corruption around. But we are looking at Nazi attack. We are looking at very, very clear brown shirt violence in language and stochastic terror that has outcome. These are orders being given. This is normalization of expectation. Of this is what it looks like to protect everything that she's saying is vaunting violence, vaunting othering, vaunting brown shirting. That's how you whip up mass murder. Nancy Mace is trying to create mass murder. And the answer is no. Well, on the off chance that I'm not just winding down, I am going to replace this other microphone. Let's see. I wonder if there's anything that might help us kind of just focus on where we're at here. To put it into perspective, that we are indeed, all of us, in an abusive relationship with an actual predator. You are in an abusive relationship. Shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger, looking into your eyes, saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone, it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged and climbed upon a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood? You are what are we? Are we not in the crosshairs of an abusive relationship? Is it not damage particle, super ultra damage, staring us in the face, telling us, I'm going to eat you if I want? And does that not mean we have submitted? So, especially seeing at this point, as with votes having come in, that we not only have a president who did not win the popular vote, but who has come in fraudulently claiming he's not associated with a neo-Nazi attack that has fleshed out a plan for concentration camps and world record deportations that will necessitate death camps indeed. There's not a way to do what they're talking about without grave harm. And that's damage that's done to everyone here. We're not malicious dark triad predators like Tom Homan and Nazi Mace, not Nancy Menace, Nancy Nats Nat 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 Nats in the brain of the Nazi Menace, Nancy, pardon me, a nonce. There's so many ways to say it. It's tough to find my way back to which is her name. Nazi Menace, right? Nancy Mace. There it is. I should just put it on the screen. There's so many ways to say it that sound just correctly wrong. Nancy Mace. That's right. That's far, 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 far extreme. Violently right wing. Nancy Mace. We're seeing brown shirting. That's just what it is. This is brown shirt bullshit. It really is not acceptable. And it's the thing of tolerance and how we recognize a tolerance paradox. We recognize, in fact, it's not that difficult to get around it, like get our brain around what it means and to evolve and practice with it. We have a brown shirt alert. That is where we are. It is a brown shirt alert that the Nazi menace, known as Nancy Mace, seems to be on a non-stop terrorist binge, trying to create murder, trying to create degradation of human family, to say that someone is not one of us, to target someone at a point of comfort, at a point of dignity. Nancy is targeting the human dignity. That is unforgivable, horrible, antichrist treatment of another person. There's not an excuse for it. There's just not an excuse for that total bullshit. And and again, just the childish, incredibly anti-science, incredibly anti-disabled community. There's so many ways in which, wow, it's just shocking boundary violations. It's just, or I should say unjust. It's merely a raft of shocking boundary violations meant to dehumanize and demoralize us. And this points to who also is involved. you don't appoint Tulsi Gabbard or people who are very, very clearly in the pocket of or spouting regularly Russian propaganda at this point in history. Under a wave of constant degradation and defiling and abuse of people around you, no matter who they are, without us seeing at long last that this is participation in the demoralization that the Soviet Union and Russia has been having upon us for decades. And we are at the demoralization phase. We're there. We are demoralized because we are submitted to a ridiculous terrorist and minions like the Nazi menace known as Nancy Mace. It is totally ridiculous, and it's absolutely disgusting. You know, there would be a time in our lives where we would know, where we would see this look on this person's face here. See him pointing into a camera, saying that he could shoot someone and not lose anybody. And we would realize right away, oh my God, that's like my first boyfriend who just about ran me over that one time, or whatever, where we say, oh, I've seen that before. That's just contempt. That's malice. That's sociopathy. That's malignant narcissism. That's a dark triad predator. Because that's what we're looking at. Someone who knows that you're going to look into a camera and see this feed because it's a massive speech. And doing something striking like that not only is going to be found at some point, but is charged with, it is a death threat. It's a death threat to everyone. And if it were a movie, it would be okay for us to laugh and be entertained by it. But we're doing that on one another's behalf. And that's part of how we're defiling and being defiled. That none of us consented to this. But also we are allowing it. At some point, even if we are coerced, a plan becomes. And if the plan is obeying in advance, then that's decimation, because we're telling him what position he gets to rape us in, as opposed to telling incoming rapists who have been projecting that everybody else is doing the damage. We have to be the presidents of the United States of America. We don't have someone who will be president overseeing things for us. He's there to loot the country and kill a lot of people for sport and power. And we need to save as many people as we can, and let's hope we can save him too. Let's hope we can save all these people who really just need serious mental health care and love and understanding that they are unwilling to give to others. It's what Christ would do. And it's a shame that they don't know that. It's a shame that people saying that everybody has to act like Christ and we're going to put it into law and break the law to do it, don't know what Christ would do and won't do it. That's crazy. And you're not crazy. You're not crazy. We are here at the mystery font. And we are going to move on from this topic. But just to say the ridiculous nature of what Nancy is doing is so, I'm just trying to be accurate here, stupid. It's damaging to our national morale. It is actually destroying our nation in that you are removing people who are part of this country. You are talking about doing incredible damage. And, and specific to this transphobic transgenocide that you are conducting, which is exactly what it is. It's anti-Christ. It is not what Christ would do. And you are categorically going after the wrong people. You're categorically looking where the damage is not coming from. That's called malicious fraud. That's called subterfuge. That's just called embracing the falsehood and lies. It's crime, Nancy. And you are using someone's dignity. You are attacking human dignity. Once again, you are attacking human dignity. This is a human being who, like everyone else, I mean, were you not given the book? I just want to make sure I'm in focus or close to it. Were you not given the book? Everybody poops. I mean, most people do. I don't know what you do. And I don't really need to or want to. Why do you need to or want to know what people do when they're doing things for themselves, consensual, and being where they belong? A trans woman is a woman and lives as a woman because she's a woman. Most importantly, you are falsely claiming that she is there to do harm rather than to do basic human rights accessible things like relieve themselves, like you are able to do. You will find people refusing you service of a bathroom if you continue this. That's where this goes, is you will be shown the door and you will be shown the out of doors. It is not okay for you to brown shirt. It's disgusting. It is absolutely Nazi particle. It is absolutely Hitler particle. It is reprehensible. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for you to try to bring Skeksis back. We will stop you, and it will come to force that will stop you if you continue to try to bring Skeksis back. No. No. We just don't allow it. The new Colossus doesn't allow Nazis to spread here. Why? Because we love you. Because it's wrong. Because it's always been a lie. Because the Ku Klux Klan's bullshit has always been bullshit. Because whiteness is a construct, and because this skin is light brown. It's beige. There's a little bit of melanin here. But in any case, we're not white. And we're definitely not better than others. And if anybody has been acting inferior, It is the crew who tried to pull the falsehood over on everyone and has been holding it down there ever since. Period. All of the ridiculous Ku Klux Kuks from Ron DeSantis to Tim Pool are just a bunch of Nazi thugs. You are all infected by intolerance and by a mistaken assertion that I will disabuse you of. Your history of family is your history of family, but an architecture of torture and enslavement is not a culture worth hanging on to. And the Nazis were right to illegalize the use of swastikas. We shouldn't have Confederate flags flapping about here because they're bands of terrorism. They are signs of terrorism. And there's a difference between free speech and free open battlefield. We're home. We're home. We're home here. And we should be building more of that. It's really, really easy to keep screaming lies. But I'm from Minneapolis here, and I saw white supremacists leak into the city and start riots. Not only is a lot of the new damage exactly the same white looters who have always been the looters, the ultimate and the ongoing, but it is all based on a falsehood that, oh yeah, you know, they just don't like us. I remember being told as a young white kid here, like, oh, you know, oh yeah, that neighborhood, you know, well, oh, you know, our next door neighbors are nice. And I know, but you know, some of these folks, they don't, what? Well, they just don't like us. Like, wow, it's not super nuanced, not very in-depth, but also kind of scary. What do you mean? Why? What are you talking about? But why do virtually no white people, as far as I know, look up their name and enslavement and figure it out? Because it's totally ridiculous and reprehensible. It's Machiavellian madness to try to minimize or say one can know what's happening on the other side there of damage that people are blithe about. It's insane. And to some extent, having a conversation about dignity and preserving it with people who are having trouble registering it. We're all human, and we also have virtually all been really dehumanized. Certainly Trump fans as much as anybody, and by him. And none of us deserve it. Not even Donald Trump deserves the treatment that Donald Trump gives to people. No one deserves to be abused and harmed. And we certainly do better and perform better and will be a more resilient and amazing America if we stop normalized terror. We can't accept the brown shirting of Nancy Mace. It's totally insane. It's, and again, she is not the only one. This is another example of a Steve Bannon flooding the zone with shit that many people are trying to start violence. It has to be called that. This is an effort to gin harm. Just like Donald Trump would not have asked for immunity even to do wrong, bad things if he didn't relish that opportunity. He wouldn't ask for it if that's not who he was. No one has asked for it, and he demanded it as if he said it was impossible to do the job without it. It's just completely insane. And you deserve better than a death cult that is willing to play chicken with you on board. Everybody does. Step back from the brown shirting, Nancy Mace. You really, really, really have choices. You really do. And we are going to stop your harm. That is real. That is real for sure. But it's so much better. It's holistic if you participate as a rational adult, as just a rational human being. What if that was the approach? What if you could agree, to say like, you're going to talk about your big feelings in a way that is humane and not terrorism, not malicious. Because wouldn't it be good to be good? I think it would be good for you to be good. I think that would be a delight. Can you be good? Can you connect to human dignity again? Please, Nancy? It's just so disgusting. And the way that you defile all of us, it's like, this is a new member of Congress, yes? That you are torturing and defiling and degrading. That's not how you welcome someone. That's not how you treat people. It's really not how you treat people. But you're doing a good job to find something that would bring Jesus back from the dead to say, what? The Falcon Crest. It's not okay. It's not all right. It's just not all right. You might want to check out a content creator. I think they were famous just before TikTok. It's Fred Rogers. Look up Mr. Rogers. Look up Mr. Rogers, all right? Look at Mr. Rogers, because I don't like you the way you are behaving. I don't like the way you're behaving at all. But you're a human soul, and I like you just the way you are, Nancy. It's just that the way you are behaving is abject terrorism. You are killing people. We don't know who's dying yet, but you're killing people. And you will stop, or you will be stopped. Please show us that you have the capacity. Please show us that you have the capacity of reason. Is that still in you? Please demonstrate that you still have the capacity of reason. That would be glorious. You know that. We want this American project to get better. We don't want
to embrace a suicidal collapse and some kind of strange Nazi purge. This death cult behavior is really intentionally scary. It is intentionally terrifying. You're destabilizing things to make people in harm's way. You are creating a situation of war. You are creating a situation of free fall. And it's totally wrong. It's corruption. And for every girl who said they thought Biden was causing forced births and they just didn't really, the incredible web of hokum from Stephen Miller and the rest. The incredible web and the bold-faced smiling tricking of people to vote against themselves and laughing to say, oh yeah, actually it was. We were saying it wasn't Project 2025, but it is. Moo-hoo-hoo-ha. That's not a prank. That's treason. That's treason. That's treason. You disrupt information such that people and claim falsely what you're doing, all the more so insane when it's not something relatively minor, but in fact enslaving people and punishing people for human need on a scale that is evil, totally antichrist. Russbot and Stephen Miller are bringing an antichrist particle. Stephen Miller and Russbot and Tom Homan are bringing Nazi Hitler apocalypse. It's antichrist gangs. It's just antichrist gangs. And what we are coming to realize is that all along we should have just been, clear with it. There's never been a time when it was safe to say, he doesn't mean that. That's just never, there's never been a time when that's safe. To say, it's not going to be that bad. But I think we can call it. This gentleman can be aptly known, I would say. I want to comfortably call him Donnie Darvo. Donnie Darvo. We would like to cuff that. We would like to cuff that because we are once again on the escalator. But let's be clear, this is not getting us up to another floor. We are on a ride with a man with hair of an imitation golden fleece who will escalate and escalate terror and damage and threat and hatred and contempt and pain and punishment. He will constantly escalate, flashing golden rings and golden promises and golden threats. He will escalate and escalate and escalate. With flaxen, golden, fleecy hair, he will escalate and escalate and escalate. It is Donnie Darvo, the golden escalator. And Nancy Is this the codec you're bringing? Are you a fleecing Donnie Darvo? It seems so, though, doesn't it? It certainly does. It certainly does seem so, though. And good gracious, it's gross. Please come back to human family. Leave behind giving up like this. Leave behind giving in to the falsehood. Don't give in to the falsehood. And if any of you have any idea or any information at all that might lead us to the identity of the pernicious falsehood, please don't hesitate. Reach out with that information, because together we can perceive. Maybe Donnie Darvo knows. Maybe Donnie Darvo has an idea of some scrap of information that might be germane and could lead us to the identity of the falsehood. It's possible. Anything's possible. We might actually find out someday the identity of the falsehood. But until then, let's not despair. Let's not give up. And our trail starts with Donnie Darvo.